Hello friends, welcome again. So this video basically is the part of the series that we have started, that is a concept through questions, right? And more specifically, I am going to discuss with you some of the questions from the environmental sections. Environmental section, okay? So let us start with these questions, and here you have the first question. The greenhouse effect is related to or refers to what? So first you should know the meaning of what is a greenhouse and greenhouse effect. From there you can get the idea. So greenhouse, when we say, normally is a house which is made up of normally glass material, let us say, and that house normally what it does, it allows the outside radiations to come inside, right? And it will hit up the inner surface, and when those radiations try to escape out of that house, those radiations are blocked by that particular house. So basic concept is something this way, that you are having a house particularly made up of glass, then as you know, you will get the rays or the radiations from the sun. They will come inside and they will hit up the surface, and then when this heated surface will re-radiate the radiations, then these radiations are basically blocked by these particular glass wall and all that. Okay, so that way all the radiations, they cannot escape easily. Then overall temperature of inside surface that goes up. तो उसको हमने नाम दे दिया ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट. So you can get the idea now that greenhouse effect is the overall increase in the temperature inside that particular house. We call it as a greenhouse effect, right? You could have observed that kind of phenomena in case of a car also. For example, if you are sitting inside a car, and that means the car is, you are like parked in, if you have parked that car in like in the sunshine, then in that case obviously the inner surface will get heated up, right? And heating up is taking place because those radiations which are passing through those particular glasses, inside surface gets heated up, but the radiations cannot come out easily, right? So usko humne naam de diya greenhouse effect. Now see the options what you are having over here. So obviously the ultimate option that you can have over here is the warming of the earth. Now same kind of phenomena also exists on the earth environment. That was in the context of like a house. We were trying to explain that particular concept. But when we talk in the context of the earth, then earth's atmosphere also behaves in a similar manner. That means earth surface, as you get as you know, gets the rays from the sun, and those rays or those radiations cannot escape easily, and therefore producing the greenhouse effect. Now if you want to visualize it more appropriately, I think you're having this particular pictorial representation, right? So as I told you, this is let us say one particular situation is this, another one is this. So here you are having, let us say, natural greenhouse effect. Natural greenhouse effect का मतलब ये हुआ कि naturally whatever the gases which are present in the atmosphere, they are producing the greenhouse effect. So for example, if you can just see over here, sun से जो radiations आ रहे हैं, the larger proportion of those radiations, incoming radiations, is re-radiated. Re-radiated means this surface will get heated up, then obviously these particular radiations will be re-radiated, and then larger proportion, now see, larger proportion is re-radiated, and then again out of this, larger proportion is basically out of that earth's atmosphere. As you know, earth's atmosphere is made up of so many gases, right? So larger proportion of this re-radiated heat is basically escapes to the space, and only a smaller proportion, because these gases which are naturally present in the earth's atmosphere, they will what block those radiations, and therefore will not allow that heat to escape, and therefore the overall temperature increase, right? So naturally this is always already existing on the earth's surface, and because since naturally this phenomena exists, so therefore overall warmth is maintained on the surface of the earth and life is possible. But now because of our different like human activities, what we have done is we have enhanced, increased this greenhouse effect. How? Now see the same situation here. This is solar radiation, the same amount of solar radiation that you are having over here, they are coming over here, right? And when they are re-radiated, the same proportion, when they are re-radiated, what is happening now? Here larger proportion was escaping to the outer space, and smaller proportion was getting remaining in that particular earth's atmosphere, that was blocked by these gases which were present naturally. But what is happening over here? See, now smaller proportion is going into the space, but larger proportion is re-radiated back, re-emitted back into the earth's atmosphere. Why? Because you have increased the you have increased the release of some of those greenhouse gases. These are the gases which basically try to block that heat which otherwise should have escaped to the space. So इसका मतलब ये हुआ that overall temperature is basically getting increased. तो उसी से हमारा कंसेप्ट फिर आया ग्लोबल वार्मिंग. Here you are having the warmth which was required to maintain or to for the life to exist on the earth surface, but this is additional heat which is getting built up in the earth environment and therefore leading to the warming of the globe, and we are calling it as a global warming, right? So this is desired. ये चाहिए आपको if you want to live, right? You want to exist. This is not desired, because if this will happen, then overall temperature of the earth will increase and this will lead to the global warming and uske side effect jo hai that we will discuss somewhere else. Okay, so it means just have this options over here. So you're having greenhouse effect refers to trapping of UV rays. See, trapping of UV rays is not the only thing, because when you get the these radiations from the earth, radiations from the sun, these radiations are in the form of, maximum radiations are in the form of UV, these infrared radiations, then followed by your the light, visible light that you see, and at third number you are going to have the UV radiation. Basically the amount of energy that you receive from the sun in the form of UV radiations is very small, right? Iska matlab hai this could not be the reason. Yes, more appropriate could have been if he had mentioned like infrared radiations, because the major proportion of the light, the energy which is coming from the sun is in the form of infrared radiations, and when those infrared radiations are re-emitted by the earth's surface, they are basically blocked by the this particular earth's atmosphere, and so this option could not be correct. And cooling of the earth, basically this is related to warming. Increased rainfall, how increased rainfall and greenery can lead to the warming of the globe, you cannot tell very correctly, so you are going to have the only option, that is warming of the earth. Let's go to the next question now. Which of the following is not a greenhouse gas, right? Greenhouse gas kaun si hai? All those gases which behaves like the glass behaved in case of your greenhouse, where we were saying the radiations we want to escape, but the glass walls didn't allow those radiations to escape, right? So same kind of like you can say, same agar if function is performed by the gases in the atmosphere, then we will say these are the greenhouse gases. So there are number of greenhouse gases. Basically there are number of gases which behave as greenhouse gases. Okay, so some of them mentioned over here. Which of the following is not a greenhouse gas? Now let me just explain you some of the greenhouse, and then you can answer it very appropriately. So just have a look over here. This is the composition of the Earth's atmosphere. You already know, right? See, nitrogen. When we talk about the Earth's atmosphere, the gas is present in the Earth's atmosphere. You are having nitrogen at the maximum proportion, followed by oxygen, then argon, right? So these three combined together contribute. That is the compose the maximum proportion of the that is composition of that particular atmospheric gases, right? Other gases are in very small amount, right? If you see over here, these gases which are present in a very large quantity in the Earth's atmosphere, fortunately they are not the greenhouse gases. They not behave as the gases which blocks the re-radiated these infrared radiations, right? So this means ये तो आपकी जो they are not the greenhouse gases. They are not going to block the re-radiated radiations from the Earth's surface, and therefore will not increase the temperature of the Earth's surface. That is Earth atmosphere more appropriately. अब इसमें से कुछ एक गैसेस ऐसी हैं जो कि इवन इफ यू सी रिमेनिंग प्रोपोर्शन इज ओनली 0.1%. In 1.1% you are going to have all these gases, but in this 0.1% you are going to have many of the gases which behave as a these greenhouse gases. Some of them are over here. You just see, have a look over here. Major one I am going to tell. Carbon dioxide is a major greenhouse gas. If carbon dioxide hogi, you are going to have carbon dioxide, ozone. Ozone, even though you know ozone, most of the ozone is present in the stratosphere, and we're going to talk about the ozone in case of ozone layer, but ozone itself is a greenhouse gas, right? So dhyan rahe aapko, when we talk in terms of ozone layer and its depletion, there is a different issue. But when we talk about ozone molecule in the atmosphere, then that ozone molecule in the atmosphere behave as a greenhouse gas. So don't club these two things together. So that means this ozone molecule as by itself will act as a greenhouse gas. Then you're having some of more like potential greenhouse gases are the methane. This is also greenhouse gas, and nitrous oxide. This is also. So these four gases which already exist naturally in the environment, they are potential greenhouse gases. In addition to it, water vapor. They also behave in a similar way as the glass wall behaved, right, for the re-emitted radiation. So all in all, if we have to talk, then we can say some of the potential greenhouse gases could be carbon dioxide, it could be like ozone, it could be methane, nitrous oxide, and water vapor, which are naturally present. Okay, so these are the greenhouse gases. Now I think if that much idea you're having, so here two main natural gases which are responsible for the greenhouse gases are H2O, and because H2O, as you know, this is the part of water cycle. Water falls on the surface of the earth, it gets evaporated, then becomes clouds, and then circulated. So that is substantial part, you know, is already present, and that behave as a greenhouse gas. And carbon dioxide, okay, naturally present in a very small quantity, but because of activities, we have increased, because we are burning a lot of fossil fuels, whether diesel, petrol, natural gas, or whatever other coal, all those things. So they are the fossil fuels. So by burning of these fuels, you are releasing a huge amount of carbon dioxide in the environment, and therefore naturally to iski percentage you can just think of 0.1 mega proportion hai, that is 0.006% something, right? So that is very small. So and it acts as a greenhouse gas, that was okay for the earth to keep the warm. But if you are releasing any of these gases additionally in the environment, all these gases, then they are going to increase the temperature. Okay, just have a look on this particular question. Which of the following is not a greenhouse gas? So I have already discussed with you some of them. So water vapor, naturally present. Carbon monoxide, see, is not a greenhouse gas. Clearly ये तो हमें पता है कि ऑक्सीजन जो है that is not a nitrogen, oxygen, argon वगैरह जो potentially which are whose like proportion is large on the Earth's atmosphere, they are not the greenhouse. So if you see on the face of it, okay, this is going to be the correct answer. But anyway, यहाँ पर एक और mention किया, water vapor I discussed with you, methane I discussed with you, carbon monoxide. See, carbon monoxide by itself is not a greenhouse gas. Direct greenhouse gas नहीं है, but indirectly it can act as a greenhouse gas. Right? We will see that later on. I have framed one more question with there. I will discuss with you that carbon dioxide and some other gases, when they are at the lower atmosphere, they react with other gases and like other pollutants. They can produce ozone. In that case, that means indirectly carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide can lead to the what? Greenhouse gas. But by itself is not a this. So अगर हमने देखना है इसका impact देखना, तो इस question में, even though this is not very correctly framed, but in any case this is very clearly we know that oxygen in any case is. So अगर out of these two I have to choose, I will go ahead with the oxygen rather than carbon monoxide, because carbon monoxide as I know indirectly can produce something which can lead to the what? Which will behave as a greenhouse gas. Okay, so whenever you're having such kind of choices where there is a competition between them, you have to go for the best one, most appropriate one. Okay, so here you're going to have the oxygen. I think this is the next question which is related to that. Which one of the following is mainly responsible for greenhouse effect? Mainly, term is mainly. That means there could be other gases which could be greenhouse gases, can lead to greenhouse effect, but mainly उनमें से कौन सा है? Just have a look over here. You know very clearly, oxygen is not a greenhouse effect, greenhouse gas. So leave aside. You're left out with carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and carbon monoxide. Now, even though यहाँ से अगर आप आंसर करना चाहो, you can very clearly answer, because we already know. As of now, आज की डेट में, if you want to talk about that, which one is which is that particular gas which is creating the largest amount of greenhouse effect on the Earth's surface, so you are going to say it is carbon dioxide. Why? Because we are releasing carbon dioxide in a huge quantity because of our lot of developmental activities or our dependence on the fossil fuels, which are contributing to the release of. So हमारे जितने भी gases हैं, whatever gases that we see, largest amount of their release is because we are carbon dioxide we are releasing in a very large quantity, and that is why it is going to. So we can say mainly responsible कौन सी है ये. They could also lead to, as I told you, carbon, at least I spoke to you about the carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide and sulfur dioxide, they by themselves are not the greenhouse gases, but indirectly they can behave as a greenhouse gases. But their release and the quantity in the atmosphere is not that much as compared to carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide comparison, their quantity in the atmosphere is small, which by like we human beings are releasing into the atmosphere. So that means C is going to be the correct option. Just have a look over here. Okay. 4 indirect greenhouse gases. ये कुछ greenhouse gases हैं, आपको idea होना चाहिए. You must have the idea which are can act as a indirectly as a greenhouse gases. कौन सी? कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड एक्ट कर सकती है, सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड एक्ट कर सकती है, नॉन मीथेन वोलेटाइल कंपाउंड्स they can also act as it is, and oxide, some of the oxides of the nitrogen can also behave like as indirect greenhouse gases. Now see some of them: nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, and these non-methane volatile organic compounds, right? They basically क्या करते हैं? Tropospheric ozone concentration basically क्या है कि lower atmosphere में they combine with the pollutants, different pollutants, and therefore after combining they can lead to the generation of ozone. So ozone we have already discussed that ozone is a greenhouse gas. So even though we know that ozone in the lower troposphere, troposphere means lowest layer of the atmosphere, right? Most of the ozone layer that we know is basically situated in the stratosphere, second layer. But in the first layer you are having the troposphere, we call it a troposphere. In that layer ozone quantity is very less, very small. So it means that these pollutants or these particular gases, if they combine, they can lead to the generation of the ozone, which is by itself is a this greenhouse gas. And sometimes this sulfur dioxide it can also include, because contributes to the aerosol formation, which can either warm. Aerosol formation का मतलब है suspended particle. For aerosol water vapor and gas is mixed together, उसको हमने aerosol बोल दिया है. In aerosol you are going to have the water particles, you are having the these solid particles, some gas is mixed together, उसको aerosol बोल देते हैं, right? So it can lead to the production of that kind of situation, and therefore sometimes it can indirectly lead to the, we can say, what, greenhouse effect. But their effect is relatively, when we compare with the presence of the carbon dioxide in atmosphere, is very small, and therefore the effect will be small. Okay, just have a look on this particular question. Two gases contributing gases making highest relative contribution to the greenhouse effect. Now we are saying that we as a human beings, because of our developmental needs, we are releasing a lot of these gases into the environment, and many of them are greenhouse gases. So some of them have been mentioned over here, and he's asking which one out of all these are the most, that is the potential or having a largest impact in terms of greenhouse effect on the Earth surface. So for that you have to see a relative contribution. Here I have the diagram for you, particular table for you. As of now, if you see, if we consider anthropogenic factor, anthropogenic का मतलब हुआ कि the factors that is related to human beings. Ultimately, all these gases which are getting released into the environment is because of the human activities. So these anthropogenic factors, the factors which are contributing to the release of the greenhouse gases, are related to the human beings, right? So आज की date में, if you say that out of the total gases that human beings are releasing into the environment, largest impact कौन सी gas का है? तो you are going to say the carbon dioxide is going to have 55% of that total contribution is coming from carbon dioxide, because we are releasing a huge amount of carbon dioxide into the environment because of different burning of fossil fuel. अब methane भी जो है आपका, as you know, methane जो है, that also mostly the methane comes from fossil fuels. ज्यादातर फॉसिल फ्यूल से आती है, एग्रीकल्चर एक्टिविटी से भी आती है आपकी, बट मोस्टली फॉर एग्जांपल वेयर यू गोइंग टू हैव ऑयल, क्रूड ऑयल, वहां पर यू गोइंग टू हैव द मीथेन इज रिलीज्ड. कंप्रेस्ड नेचुरल गैस बोलते हैं ना, राइट? तो कंप्रेस्ड नेचुरल गैस, दैट मींस नेचुरल गैस इज बेसिकली लार्जेस्ट प्रोपोर्शन ऑफ दैट नेचुरल गैस इज मीथेन, राइट? सो दैट मींस since methane is also released from in those areas where you are going to have the fossil fuel, जहां पर coal beds मिलेंगे, there you are also going to have methane. The oil fields मिलेंगी, there you are going to have methane. So that is why again our dependence is on lot of on those activities where methane is released. Halocarbons basically जो है halogen group के जो आपने compounds हैं कुछ एक, they are also basically contributing है. Basically chlorofluoro refrigerant, most of these refrigerants, chlorofluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbons, they are also, even ध्यान रहे जो ये refrigerants है which we make use of these refrigerants in the अपने रेफ्रिजरेटर में यूज करते हैं, एसीज में यूज करते हैं, that is जो refrigerant that is circulated inside those coils in order to cool a particular area, right? तो उनको उसको बोलते हैं हम refrigerants. तो for that particular refrigerant you make use of certain compounds which are man made only. For example chlorofluorocarbons, now they have been even phased out, but chlorofluorocarbons हो गए, उसमें क्या chlorine भी है, fluorine भी है, halogen group, halocarbon, that is why the name came as halocarbons, right? Then you are having these hydrofluorocarbons and all those, because so all those basically they also, because we are our dependence is on like a lot of refrigeration related activity, cooling activities, there definitely we are making use of these particular compounds. Okay, and next one is ozone. See, ozone is relatively contributing this much, and then finally nitrous oxide. But okay, you don't need to remember the sequence, because here you could have like this figure can can vary year to year. So just you need to have a relative idea that carbon dioxide and methane, they are the largest contributor of greenhouse effect on the surface of the earth when we talk anthropogenically only, that is men human beings की contribution के through. But if I talk you overall अगर मैंने बात करनी है कि overall if I consider even the water vapors which are naturally present, see water balance we have not been able to disturb to that extent, right? Even though water vapors, so naturally whatever that water vapors can be circulated on in the atmosphere, so more or less that quantity we have not been able to modify as of now because of our activities. So if I say that largest contribution that means kul milake, that is considering even the water vapor, then you are going to say the water vapor is the largest contributor. But when you say solely human beings की contribution के through, then we are saying we are releasing carbon dioxide, we are releasing methane, we are releasing nitrous oxide, we are releasing other compounds, etc. That way then you can answer this way. So out of these choices, if you see, just a minute, out of these choices if you see, then you're going carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, nitrous, CFC stands for chlorofluorocarbons, refrigerants, right? So their contributions are relatively less when you compare with carbon dioxide and methane. So that is how you have to basically answer this particular question. Just have a look on this. This is what do you call it as a Kyoto Protocol has specified the commitments of different countries. Now first you need to have the idea of Kyoto Protocol. Basically this is an agreement signed by the different countries across the world in order to reduce the effect of climate change or global warming. We are releasing a lot of greenhouse gases in the environment, and therefore overall temperature is increasing. So in order to contain that increase in temperature, all the countries came together and they decided that they should take some steps in order to reduce those release of those greenhouse gases. So there are a number of meetings that took place even before the Kyoto is the name of the place in Japan where basically this agreement was carried out by these countries like of the world, right? Before that also there was some agreements, but this was one of the concrete agreement in terms of giving the targets. इससे पहले जितने भी agreements हुए, in those agreements there was not, targets were not given to the countries to reduce the greenhouse gases release, but in this particular meeting targets were given to particularly the developed countries को कुछ एक target दिए गए that you have to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. Some of those agreements are, for example, Stockholm Conference 1972, then Brundtland Commission 1986, then one major meet that took place in 1972 that was that is 1992, sorry. So Stockholm Conference in 1972, then 1986 was, as I told you, Brundtland Commission. Then there was one more in 1992 that was Rio Earth Summit, that is a Rio de Janeiro is a place, as you know, in Brazil. So Rio, that is known as Rio Earth Summit, that took place in 1992. Then after that, this was the summit called as, that was in 1997. So basically Kyoto Protocol or meeting that took place or agreement that took place in Kyoto, city of Japan in 1997, in which some targets were given to the countries to reduce the greenhouse gases. Now you can get the idea from there. So see options: to prepare a world climate change program. Okay, even if, like for example, if you're gonna have, इसके इसमें थोड़ा सा confusion हो सकता है, but just see other options also. Limit production of chlorofluorocarbons. So see, Kyoto Protocol, even though chlorofluorocarbons were CFCs. See, refrigerants जितने भी हैं, for example, chlorofluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbons, mainly they are responsible for the depletion of ozone layer. As we said, we are having a layer in the stratosphere. That is the second layer of the Earth's atmosphere from the Earth's surface. So that layer is getting destroyed by these refrigerants. Earlier we used to make use of these compound chlorofluorocarbons. Then they were replaced by hydrofluorocarbons. So they were also leading to the damage of this ozone layer. But even though these are potentially harmful to the ozone layer, they are also greenhouse gases by themselves. दो इंपैक्ट है इनके, एक तो ये ग्रीन हाउस गैस भी है, मतलब ओवरऑल टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज करेंगी, राइट. दूसरा जो है, दे ऑल्सो व्हाट, दे ऑल्सो डैमेज योर व्हाट, ओजोन लेयर, ओजोन मॉलिक्यूल को डिस्ट्रॉय भी करते हैं, राइट, ऑन द स्ट्रेटोस्फीयर, राइट. सो ओजोन लेयर के बारे में बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे, बट यू नीड टू हैव लिमिट द प्रोडक्शन. इस क्योतो प्रोटोकॉल का काम जो है वो इनको रिड्यूस करने का नहीं है. The objective of Kyoto Protocol is not to reduce this. अगर objective होगा भी तो कहां पर, where the objective of reducing these gases will be where you want to minimize the impact of those released gases in that particular ozone layer, right. तो वहां पर डिस्कस किया जा सकता है, बट इसका इम्पैक्ट जो बेसिकली है, और डेफिनेटली वी आर सेइंग दे आर आल्सो एक्ट एज ए ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस, बट फॉर अस देयर आर मोर पोटेंशियल ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस. इनसे बहुत ज्यादा, और दैट मींस द क्वांटिटी that we are releasing into the atmosphere, which are behaving as a greenhouse gases, some of these gases are being released in a very large quantity compared to these gases. So the only objective, that means ये भी आपका जो है वो appropriate नहीं है. That's what you can say. To mitigate the climate change. To mitigate का मतलब है reduce करना, contain करना, खत्म करना, whatever you want to. So to reduce the climate change, basically you want to what, जितनी भी effort, whatever the effort that we are taking, that we are discussing under greenhouse effect, global warming and all that, some of those agreements that I told you, they basically, उनका purpose क्या है, to mitigate the climate change, कि climate में जो है वो change ना आए, because if change will take place in the climate, global climate, then we will see many dangerous effect on the surface of the earth. So यही purpose है हमारा Kyoto Protocol का भी, and some of the other protocols and agreements which are related to this particular domain. So this is going to the correct option. And to mitigate the ozone depletion, see, to mitigate the ozone depletion, that means to reduce the effect on the ozone depletion, we will be studying some other protocols like Montreal Protocol and all those. So separately we are going to discuss. So this is also not going to prepare a world climate change program. So if I have to choose, to prepare a world climate change program, कि world के climate में change हो, उससे related कोई program तैयार करना, that is not my objective. My objective in these protocols and this agreement is to reduce the effect of greenhouse gases into the environment, to reduce the, और climate change को restrain करना है, contain करना है, कम करना है. That is my purpose. Okay, so that means this should be the correct option, to mitigate climate change. So this is I already explained you कि क्योतो प्रोटोकॉल बेसिकली 1997 में जो है वो that was came into being, and it commits parties by setting internationally binding emission reduction target. As I told you, this was the first meeting where all the countries came together and they decided that we should move towards, and we should give target to countries, some of the countries, right. So we should give the target to countries that you have to reduce the greenhouse gases by this amount. इससे पहले जितनी भी थी वो, that was the, we were creating that particular kind of atmosphere, माहौल तैयार कर रहे थे ताकि these countries should agree and they should come together and therefore should take steps to reduce the release of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, etc. Right? Kyoto जो है, this is Japan, as you know. Here you are having country called as Japan, you are having India over here, and in Japan you are having a, for example, somewhere here you are having a Kyoto. So at this place, basically this meeting took place, and then we agreed for this. So some of these Kyoto protocol में ये टारगेट दिए थे, कुछ एक गैसेस, पोटेंशियल गैसेस हैं ये. There are some of the potential greenhouse gases: carbon dioxide being released, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, the sulfur hexafluoride. Highly potential. This particular gas is having a very high potential. Like even if small amount of it is released into the atmosphere, the warming potential is too huge, and something this way. So these are some of the potential greenhouse gases. They are having the largest impact you can just think of, right? So just keep in mind these all are greenhouse gases. आपको ये नाम पता होना चाहिए. The question could be framed from this also, that these gases contribute directly to the climate change owing to their positive radiation, this radiative forcing effect. As simple as that, they are blocking the radiations in the atmosphere, right? And some of these are also known as collective F gases, because fluorine, fluoride, fluoro, hexafluoride, fluorine is present, so sometimes they are also called as F gases, but that is not that much important for you. Simply you need to know that these are some of the potential gases which are being released by human beings into the atmosphere, and they will taken. So Kyoto Protocol ने decide किया कि first we should target these gases to phase out or to reduce their emission in the environment. Okay, let us now see the next question. Here's the question for you. Just have a look over here. Which one of the following statement is incorrect about the Central Pollution Control Board? Right. So some of the statements have been given to you, and you have to find out the incorrect one about the CPCB. Right. So you can get the idea even from the name itself. Central Pollution Control Board, matlab board which has been constituted at the central level, that is at the central government level, and the purpose of which is to what? To what? Control the pollution. Now when we talk about the pollution, that means it will come water pollution as well as the air pollution, right? So in India we are having some kind of act. First we need to know that Central Pollution Control Board जो body है वो है किसके अंदर है, right? Some of these statements are given to you. For example, so let me just explain you briefly. मैं explain कर देता हूँ, and then I think you by yourself can also try so and see whether you can reach the right conclusion or not. And in any case, I am going to explain you. Okay, so let me just explain you over here. Just have a look over here. So see, Central Pollution Control Board जो है basically क्या है, पर्पस क्या है, आपने जो है पोल्यूशन को कंट्रोल करना है, कहां पर? एयर पोल्यूशन, वाटर पोल्यूशन. नाउ पहली बात तो बॉडी, द फर्स्ट थिंग इज द बॉडी जो क्रिएट की गई वो किसके अंडर है? बेसिकली इट इज अंडर द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरमेंट, फॉरेस्ट एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज. तो ये आपको फैक्चुअल इंफॉर्मेशन पता होनी चाहिए. नाउ इसका मतलब ये है, एक तो यह कि इसके पर्टिकुलर मिनिस्ट्री के अंडर है. सेकंड वन इज दैट it must be getting powers, this particular body may be getting powers from some of the acts which are related to air pollution or which are related to water pollution. Now see the statement. CPC was entrusted with the powers and functions. कुछ एक powers दी हैं, क्या काम करना है इसने and all that. Under what? We are having in India a particular act called as Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act, this 1981. तो ये act बनाया गया है कि what are the steps and what are the regulation that we have in order to reduce the air pollution. Same way you're going to have water pollution also. I think somewhere it is mentioned over here. For example, it serves in the field of formation, as a field formation, and also provides technical services to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Provision of Environment Protection Act. This. Now see, as I told you, this is under the Ministry of Environment and Forest. Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This is a more appropriate name. Then obviously when it is under that particular ministry, then it is going to provide some kind of services to that ministry. So technical and all those services that are provided by this particular ministry, and under the provision, और वो provision किसमें mention किए गए? Environmental Protection Act 1986. So obviously क्योंकि ये जो है this is related to environmental related matters, तो definitely क्या है? There must be some of the provisions in the Environmental Protection Act that must be mentioned over there. Right, it has to comply with. So एक तो है आपका Environmental Protection Act 1986, दूसरा आपका Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, and जो उसके functions हैं कि इसको क्या क्या आपकी जो है what are the mandate that is given to this particular body, Central Pollution Control Board को जो आपको जो mandate दिया गया है, that has been mentioned. Principal functions क्या है, काम क्या है of the CPC as spelled out in the water. एक तो इसमें कहां पर mention किए गए हैं? under the Water Prevention and Control of Act 1974 and Air Prevention and Control Pollution Act 1981. So basically एक तो आपको दो तीन चीजें ध्यान रखनी है सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड में कि एक तो दिस इज सेंट्रल दैट इज अंडर द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरमेंट फॉरेस्ट एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज एंड जो आपका जो प्रोविजन है दैट इज मेंशन अंडर द एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट 1986. दूसरा एयर that is Prevention and Control Act 1981 and same way like you are having this Water Prevention and Control Act 1974. So all these are basically related to this particular body called as Central Pollution Control. Mandate क्या है? Basically to promote the cleanliness of stream, wells and different areas state. Basically water se related whatever the you are having issues with regard to the pollution that you have, this body will take care. And same way to improve the air quality and all that prevention and control and abatement of this pollution in the country. So air pollution se related bhi jo measures aapne lene hain, whatever the measures that you have to take and all that are also taken by this particular body called as what? Central Pollution Control Board. So if you just have a look over here, I think from there you can get the idea. So these are the factual information that you need to in any case remember, right? So that is a CPCB was entrusted with powers and function. किसके अंदर powers and function है? Air prevention. Same way it will happen to what? Water pollution से related video. Principal function of CPCB are spelled out in what? Water pollution and Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act this and Air Prevention 1981 again same. And it also provides technical services to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. आज की डेट में ये मिनिस्ट्री जो है we call it as a Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change and जो प्रोविजन जो है एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट में मेंशन किए गए हैं दैट आल्सो. नाउ सी नेशनल एयर मॉनिटरिंग प्रोग्राम इज नॉट विद इन द स्कोप ऑफ सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड. नाउ बेसिकली व्हाटएवर द मेजर यू हैव टू टेक विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द मॉनिटरिंग ऑफ द पोल्यूशन एंड एयर को और एयर पोल्यूशन को स्टॉप करने के लिए व्हाटएवर द मेजर यू हैव टू टेक बेसिकली सीपीसीबी सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड हैज टू टेक. So basically Central Pollution Control Board has started one program called as National Air Monitoring Program, right? So यहाँ पर is not within the scope. Basically this is a part of rather Central Pollution Control Board ने ही ये program शुरू किया है. As the name suggests, National Air Monitoring Program, national level पे air monitoring, that means air का what is the quality of air, उसको monitor करने के लिए whatever the program that you have started, उसको हमने नाम दे दिया National Air Monitoring Program. Under this program आपने you are having like Central Pollution Control Board क्या करता है, different locations पे check करता है what is the quality of air, pollutants कितने हैं and all that. So whole of that report is prepared and if there is deviation from the standards, right, fixed level से carbon dioxide इतनी release होनी चाहिए, इससे ज्यादा है यहाँ पर, that's it. In that case, it will suggest a measure in order to reduce that level of those pollutants in the air. So that is under this particular this. So same has been mentioned over here. Like air quality monitoring is an important part of the air quality management. National Air Monitoring Program has been established with the objective to determine the present air quality status. कि अभी जो है वो कितने air quality का level क्या है? Like what are the different pollutants and status क्या है बताना, check करना, monitor करना. First check, monitor, and then you have to take the corrective measure. That is all under this particular program. Now just see this. Which of the following is not the objective of Ministry of Environmental, Forest and Climate Change? Now see, you can get the idea. Ministry of Environment, environment से related matters में ये क्या करती है, deal करती है. Ministry क्या करती है? This ministry is going to take the steps or whatever the decision regarding to environmental issues, forest se related and climate change, global warming se related, all those effects, right? So all these fall under the category of this particular ministry. Now even if you don't have much idea about the topic, you can try to get the idea. Just read all these statements from where there you can get some kind of list. Now see, ensuring the welfare of the animals. Let's say you are not aware about animals welfare आता है कि नहीं है. Afforestation and रीजनरेशन ऑफ द डिग्रेडेड एरिया. अब ये पता होना चाहिए एफोरेस्टेशन एंड रीजनरेशन. एफोरेस्टेशन मतलब जो है वो प्लांटेशन एंड ऑल दैट, राइट. रीजनरेशन ऑफ द डिग्रेडेड एरिया मतलब दोबारा जो है जो द एरियाज व्हिच हैव गॉट डिग्रेडेड, राइट, सो उनको रिस्टोर करना. प्रिवेंशन एंड कंट्रोल ऑफ पोल्यूशन, आई थिंक यू कैन गेट द आइडिया, ऑब्वियसली दिस इज रिलेटेड टू दिस. नाउ सी, प्रिवेंशन ऑफ वोल्केनिक इरप्शन. अब यहां पर जो है if you have little idea then you can definitely थोड़ा एक जनरल नॉलेज काइंड ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन यू नीड टू हैव. प्रिवेंशन ऑफ वोल्केनिक इरप्शन. प्रिवेंशन ऑफ वोल्केनिक इरप्शन तो एक नेचुरल फिनोमेना है. वोल्केनोस जो इरप्ट होते हैं दैट इज ए नेचुरल फिनोमेना. सो हाउ द मिनिस्ट्री कैन कंट्रोल द वोल्केनिक इरप्शन, वो उसके हाथ में नहीं है, राइट. सो मिनिस्ट्री कैन नॉट कंट्रोल कि वोल्केनिक इरप्शन किसी पर्टिकुलर एरिया में हो रही है इंडिया में, तो हाउ इट कैन कंट्रोल. सो ऑब्वियसली you can get the idea. Even if, for example, if you have read all the statements, then somewhere you can get the idea. So this is going to be the correct option. Rest जो है ये objectives of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change है. इसको अगर हमने थोड़ा सा more detail में spelled out करना है तो यहां पर you can just have the क्या काम करती है मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरमेंट फॉरेस्ट. सारे ऑल द मैटर्स विल बी रिलेटेड टू एनवायरमेंट, फॉरेस्ट और उससे ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस, क्लाइमेट चेंज या उससे रिलेटेड होंगे. कंजर्वेशन ऑफ एंड सर्वे, कंजर्वेशन ऑफ व्हाट, फ्लोरा, दैट इज प्लांट्स, एनिमल्स एंड फॉरेस्ट एंड वाइल्ड लाइफ. सारा prevention and control of pollution, obviously that falls. CPCB was constructed under this to deal with this particular aspect. Afforestation and generation, अगर आप जो है एयर पोल्यूशन लेवल को कम करना चाहते, no, sorry, let us say if you want to improve the air quality level and related aspects, then obviously you have to go for the degraded areas को भी improve करना है आपने, afforestation करनी है, protection of the environment, general, ensuring the welfare of the animals. Animals also fall under this category because when we are talking about the fauna, flora related to plants and fauna animals, so that is within that particular. So you don't have to specifically talk about the environmental only, but environment से related other forest है. When we talk about the forest, forest in itself does not mean trees only. Forest as a whole. So forest में you are going to have the animals also. So it is also related to the welfare of animals, right? And volcanic eruptions are natural phenomena and doesn't fall under the category, right? So ये so that is how you could answer. So you should have a broader idea of what the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change deals with. वहां से आप क्या कर सकते हो, इसका आंसर निकाल सकते हो. Let's see the next question. Which of the following is not advantage of environmental impact assessment? Right. For that you need to know about the environmental impact assessment क्या होती है, and I think then only you can answer. Even though this is a very simple question, but if you are having the idea of environmental impact assessment, so some lines have been mentioned over, details have been given over here. Environmental impact, see, simply see the wording, environmental impact assessment. Let us say कोई भी प्रोजेक्ट आप शुरू करते हो, कोई इंडस्ट्री लगाते हो, प्लांट लगाते हो, whatever. So while establishing that plant or while going ahead with that particular project, you want to assess the impact of that particular project on the environmental, on the environment. So environmental impact assessment, assessment मतलब idea, एक evaluation. So you want to evaluate what? Environmental impact किसका? Of any particular project, of a plant or something that way. So if when you are doing carrying out some kind of a project, आप starting करना चाहते हो, so before carrying out that project you have to carry out a kind of assessment, evaluation with regard to the environmental impact. मान लिया एक हाइडल प्रोजेक्ट है आपने शुरू करना है, तो to start that hydel project you have to see, अगर मैं वहां पर एक बड़ा डैम बना देता हूं तो what that dam is going to, how that dam is going to influence the environment around that. Thermal power station है, if you want to make the thermal power station at a particular location, how that thermal power plant is going to influence the area around it in terms of pollution, release of pollutants or maybe otherwise also, right? So वो सारी चीज किसके अंदर फॉल करी, that will fall under the environmental impact assessment, right? Just see, environmental impact assessment is the assessment, evaluation of environmental consequences, environmental impact, effect क्या आया, whether positive or negative, of a plan, policy, program, actual projects, prior decision to move forward. इससे पहले कि आप उस प्रोजेक्ट के ऊपर मूव फॉरवर्ड करो, before that if you will give the consideration to all these environmental aspects, then you could have multiple benefits. In this context, the term environmental impact assessment is usually used when applied to actual projects by individual or companies, whether ये individual है, companies है, organizations हैं, when they go ahead with a particular project, उस case में when you carry such kind of assessment, then we call it as a environmental impact assessment. Purpose of assessment क्या है, is to ensure the decision makers consider the environmental impact when the decision, see, ये वही चीज है कि direct, instead of directly going ahead with the project and then later on see this impact on the environment, that will be damaging to the environment. इससे पहले ही क्या करो आप, if you will go ahead and you will assess the impact prior to actual implementation, then you can modify the project को modify कर सकते हो, better बना सकते हो, and जो effect होना होगा उसका environment के ऊपर, that impact you can also minimize. So just see, have a look over here. Some of these have been mentioned over there. According to the United Nations Environment Program, the main advantage, benefits, some of mentioned, improve project design and siting. तो अगर if you have taken the consideration, if you will receive some kind of feedback, जैसे आपको feedback आएगी तो उसके बेसिस पे कि some kind of environmental damage may take place, तो आप क्या करोगे, उसको adjust करोगे उसमें अपने project में, and you will try to modify the project. So you are basically making that particular project better, right? मोर इन्फॉर्म डिसीजन मेकिंग, ऑब्वियसली मोर इन्फॉर्म का मतलब बेटर डिसीजन मेकिंग होगी, मोर एनवायरमेंटल सेंसिटिव डिसीजन, that environmental damage will be minimum, that is why you are environmentally sensitive, increased accountability and transparency during the development process, आपने क्रिस्टल क्लियर रखा है हर एक चीज को कि देखो मैं अगर कोई एक्टिविटी कर रहा हूं तो मेरा एनवायरमेंटल डैमेज क्या होगा, कम से कम होगा, बिकॉज आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड दैट आई एम कैरिंग आउट दिस एनवायरमेंटल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट, राइट. सेम वे इंप्रूव्ड इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट्स इनटू एनवायरमेंटल सोशल सेटिंग, ऑब्वियसली जो आपने प्रोजेक्ट बनाया उसका जो है इंटीग्रेशन इजीली हो जाएगी आसपास के एरिया से, ना तो क्या होगा, इट इज गोइंग टू बी अ डिस्प्यूटेड एरिया, काइंड ऑफ आपने प्रोजेक्ट लगा दिया, बाद में लोग जो है वहां पर क्या करते हैं, दे आर गोइंग टू हैव ए प्रोटेस्ट एंड ऑल दैट, यू आर लाइक स्पॉइलिंग होल ऑफ दैट एनवायरमेंट, तो क्या है एनवायरमेंटल सेटिंग के लिए जो है आपके लिए इजी हो जाएगा. रिड्यूस्ड एनवायरमेंटल डैमेज, ऑब्वियसली द पर्पस इज टू रिड्यूस द एनवायरमेंटल डैमेज को मिनिमाइज करना है, पॉजिटिव कंट्रीब्यूशन टुवर्ड अचीविंग द सस्टेनेबिलिटी, राइट. सस्टेनेबिलिटी मतलब कि ऐसी डेवलपमेंट विच इज सस्टेन्ड फॉर ए लॉन्गर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. So if you are doing that way, you are taking care of the environment, then इसका मतलब है the kind of developmental activity that you are going to carry out that is sustainable for the longer term, right? So those are some of the एक brief में अगर environmental impact assessment का idea लेना है आपने, so that is what you can think of. Now get this done. Which of the following is not, you have to not the advantage of EIA. Reduced environmental damage, obviously we want to environmental damage where we want to minimize, improve project design, obviously when you will consider those environmental considerations को लोगे, when you will take in them into account, you are going to have a better project design, आप उस प्रोजेक्ट को बेटर बनाओगे इन टर्म्स ऑफ डिजाइन एंड इंप्लीमेंटेशन. इंप्रूव्ड इनकम टू एनवायरमेंटल एजेंसीज, एनवायरमेंटल सेंसिटिव डिसीजंस, ओके, जो भी डिसीजन ले रहे हो वो क्या है, एनवायरमेंटली सेंसिटिव हैं, एनवायरमेंटल की कंसर्न से हैं, सो इसका मतलब है ये तो एडवांटेजेस हैं ही. इंप्रूव्ड इनकम टू एनवायरमेंटल एजेंसीज, एनवायरमेंटल एजेंसीज का काम पैसे कमाना थोड़ी है, बाय कैरिंग आउट द एनवायरमेंटल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट, राइट. सो दैट इज व्हाई इंप्रूव्ड इनकम टू एनवायरमेंटल एजेंसीज का काम क्या है, द वर्क ऑफ एनवायरमेंटल एजेंसीज इज टू minimize the, to see and check whether basically to see that some negative influence of the project is not carried out in those locations, negative impact ना हो उन projects का environment के ऊपर, as simple as that. So they are not there for the earning the money, so this is not going to be the advantage. So you can say if you have to see the correct option, that is this is going to the correct option as per this question. Just have a look over this particular question also. Consider the following statement. Certification of ISO 14000 standard is mandatory for organizations. For this you need to know ISO 14000 है क्या है, what are these standards and all that. If you will know that, then I think you can very well answer this. So brief idea मैं आपको दे देता हूं इसका कि as per the ISO 14000 basically क्या है, this family of standards, right. Purpose क्या है, what is the purpose of these standards? स्टैंडर्ड्स आप पहली बात तो है किसने बनाए, दिस इज ए सीरीज ऑफ फैमिली है, एक स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है ये, दिस आर नंबर ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड्स लाइक 14001 14006 एंड समथिंग दैट वे. सो दिस इज फैमिली ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड्स, फैमिली मतलब एक ग्रुप ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं ये, रिलेटेड टू एनवायरमेंटल मैनेजमेंट. पर्पस क्या है, एनवायरमेंट को मैनेज करना है, एग्जिस्ट टू हेल्प ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मिनिमाइज हाउ देयर ऑपरेशंस एंड प्रोसेसेस. सिंपल टर्म में ये है कि जो आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, how those organizations companies can minimize their impact in the environment. तो उससे related if you can have a set of processes within your organizations कि whatever the activity that you do, वो activities क्या करेंगी, they are going to reduce the environmental impact, right. Then that falls in this. तो वो कहां specify किया गया, as per this family of standards में mentioned है. ये क्या specify करते हैं, minimize how the operation negatively impact the environment, cause adverse changes in the, कैसे जो है एयर वाटर और लैंड के ऊपर पोल्यूशन मतलब काइंड ऑफ नेगेटिव इंपैक्ट होता है, कंप्लाई विद द एप्लीकेबल लॉज रेगुलेशन एंड अदर. सो इस पर्टिकुलर स्टैंडर्ड में ये भी अगर मान लिया, इफ यू आर हैविंग, गवर्नमेंट हैज गिवन सम काइंड ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड, गवर्नमेंट हैज मेंशन्ड सम काइंड ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट दैट you should not produce this much of carbon dioxide, something that way, right. If they have some kind of regulation, so those guidelines or those kind of regulations, or you can say regulatory requirement can also be complied with, right. Continually improve in the above, इन दोनों में over a period of time improvement करना, right. Now see, ये तो जो standard है, पर्पस क्या है, पर्पस यही है कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस का इंपैक्ट, नेगेटिव इंपैक्ट एनवायरमेंट में कम हो. तो उसके लिए जो है एक स्टैंडर्ड तैयार कर दिया आईएसओ ने, कॉल्ड एज ISO 14000, एंड दिस इज फैमिली ऑफ, एज आई टोल्ड यू, नंबर ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड्स, डिफरेंट स्टैंडर्ड्स आर ओवर देयर. नाउ पॉइंट इज whether this standard is mandatory or not. Now see, whether कंपनीज और ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस कैन प्रिपेयर देयर ओन स्टैंडर्ड्स आल्सो, और उन स्टैंडर्ड्स के हिसाब से दे कैन क्लासिफाई डिफरेंट एक्टिविटीज जिनका दे कैन मिनिमाइज देयर इंपैक्ट ऑन द एनवायरमेंट, दैट इज आल्सो ओके, no issue. They can comply with the government regulations also by themselves. But if you are following these ISO 14000 regulations, then it becomes easy for you to operate. आपकी एक reputation बढ़ती है. Reason being कि since they have been prepared, international organization for standardization, international level पे आपने you have prepared these standards. So across the world, different organizations are following. So इसका मतलब है कि for example a company over here is following this standard, and the company in the different country that is having a business with you, so that can easily rely that you are meeting those standards. If they have to purchase some kind of product from you, and if they are environmentally sensitive and you are already this ISO 14000 certified, then they will have trust on you, and your this kind of product can be, so that means kind of reputation also you will enjoy as at the international level. But it is not mandatory, voluntary hai. Aapki organization, if your organization want to go ahead with these standards prepared by international organization standards, or you want to go ahead with your own standards, it is up to you. So इसका मतलब है they are not mandatory, voluntary है, करना चाहते हो तो voluntary scheme है, benefit है इसके, recognition है, improved system performance and environmental performance, environmental damage आपका क्या होगा, कम होगा, right? So that is why if you see, consider the following statement: certification to ISO 14001 standard is mandatory for the organization. It is not mandatory, it is voluntary. So this statement is incorrect, false. B is going to the correct option. Let's see the last question over here. With the following determine the whether the full EIA is required or not. See, EIA जो है वो basically environmental impact assessment जो है इससे process है, complete process है जिसमें आप identify करोगे areas where you have to carry out the environmental impact assessment. Project शुरू किया, whether you have to go ahead with that particular environmental impact assessment or not, right? So those things have to be looked into. Now कि कुछ एक steps हैं या processes हैं, out of these which one decide whether you have to go for the environmental impact assessment, कि इस project के लिए should you go for analyzing that you need to carry out the environmental impact assessment evaluation or not, right? So out of these which one basically is related to that? Screening, scoping, detailed project report, baseline data. Basically screening से ये आपको screening word या screen करना, screen किसके लिए करना कि आपने whether you need to go for environmental impact assessment or not, right? So basically this is related to किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने से किसी ने पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट दे वांट टू कैरी आउट विद द प्रोजेक्ट, वेदर फॉर दैट प्रोजेक्ट यू नीड टू गो अहेड विद एनवायरमेंटल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट और नॉट, जाना है नहीं जाना, तो स्क्रीन किया आपने, राइट? जैसे आप बोलते हो कि सिलेक्शन में स्क्रीनिंग करनी है कि आपको लेना है या नहीं लेना, एज सिंपल एज दैट. तो EIA चाहिए आपको इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को उस पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट के लिए, वेदर दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट हैज टू गो अहेड विद द एनवायरमेंटल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट और नॉट, कौन डिसाइड करेगा? स्क्रीनिंग प्रोसेस, राइट? स्कोपिंग, उस एनवायरमेंटल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट का कितना स्कोप है, कौन कौन से एरियाज वो कवर करेगा, विच एरियाज दैट आर गोइंग टू बी कवर्ड. डिटेल्ड प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट वो तो तब बनेगी जब आप एक्चुअली जो क्या करोगे, एनवायरमेंटल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट करोगे, राइट? बेसलाइन डेटा, दिस इज द रेफरेंस डेटा, राइट? कि व्हाट आर द शुरू वाला जो डेटा है जिसके बेसिस पे आपने जो है एनालिसिस किया कि विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दैट डेटा व्हाट आर द चेंजेस दैट आर टेकिंग प्लेस, उसको हमने बेसलाइन डेटा बोला. सो बेसिकली ओवर हियर आपने वेदर यू हैव टू गो फॉर द एनवायरमेंटल इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट और नॉट, that is decided at the screening stage initially whether you have to go for that or not. So just have a look over here. So screening is the process of deciding whether EIA is required or not. स्क्रीन करना, उसी से ध्यान रहे वर्ड का मीनिंग से. दिस में भी डिटरमिन्ड बाय साइज, साइज का मतलब है क्योंकि there are lot of that means guidelines will be given to you. For example, हो सकता है आपको कहा कि एक particular area है, irrigation project है, if the area of that irrigation project is larger than a particular that mentioned over there, तो उसके लिए आपको definitely you have to go for EIA. If that area is small, so it may be that may not be required, you may not be required to go ahead with that particular environment impact assessment. So those guidelines are given to you, okay? And the guidelines of whether or not EIA is required is country specific. ऐसा भी है आपका, अलग अलग कंट्रीज की अलग अलग रिक्वायरमेंट हो सकती है. लॉज एंड नॉर्म्स, लेजिस्लेशन आर ऑफन स्पेसिफाई द क्राइटेरिया. कंट्री के जो आपके लीगल प्रोसेस है, सॉरी लीगल लेजिस्लेशन है, आपने कुछ लॉज बनाए हैं, अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट मे बी mentioned. So I think these are some of the questions which I have tried to cover from the almost all the areas of like that are mentioned in your syllabus. So I think that is all in this video, and in the next video we are coming out again with some of the more good questions to discuss with you. Okay, so that's all from my side. Thank you.